Good evening, everyone. This is Rodney with the Triton Wave Market Outlook for Tuesday, May 28th, 2013. This is brought to you by Triton Wave Consulting and the Triton Waves, which are early warning market timing indicators used in all time frames in all markets. All right, I hope you all had a long, extended holiday weekend. I want to pay tribute to all the people that served our country during all the wars, that so we could have the privileges that we have today, including all of my relatives and my dad. Okay, let's look at the ES space pound F, which is continuous contract, and we're looking at a 24-hour chart. So what you see right now, it is 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we are up 625 on the ES, and it looks like it took a bounce this week off of the 21 period exponential moving average, and it came up to the 8, it came up to the 8 again, and it looks like it's going past the 8. So so T1 is still above 0, as well as T2, T3, and T4. This is cooking on all cylinders. The only precaution or caution that I have is these are lower candles as they go down. So that's the only caution that I would have on this. We'll see what happens when it gets back up, if it gets back up to 1683, 1684, which was the former top up here. Okay, what I want to bring up now is a chart of what's going on with the euro against the dollar. The euro this is a chart starting on Sunday evening. The Sunday evening chart goes back to this area right in here. Okay, it took a plunge, and now it's moving its way back up, which means the euro is moving up. It moved down against the dollar, now it's moving up against the dollar. Let's take a look and see what the dollar is doing on just a dollar as a pure play. Is moving, it's made this extensive move up over the last 2 weeks and came back down again. It looks like it wants to move up a little bit. This is only as you can see here, this D means that it can only be shown in daily, so I can't show it in 15-minute increments. It is a free chart from tradingview.com, so no exchange fees. But if we look at the euro if we look at a daily chart of the euro USD, the euros is moving up slightly, so against the dollar. The dollar is moving up slightly, is moving up actually very nicely all the way up here, zigzagging upward against the yen, and the Aussie yen is moving in this downward track, even though it's taking a hiccup to the upside. This will dictate, the Aussie yen will dictate what is happening in the stock market, and as well the yen will dictate what's happening in the stock market. So for the last if the yen goes up, the stock market's going to go down. It had 2 nice days of up, and then this day it's moving down again. So I'm not really sure whether it's going to try to come back up here first before it heads down, or whether it's just going to completely take off and move up to this area of 108. We'll see. But if this moves up like this, then the U.S. stock market is going to move down. Also, whoops, if the dollar moves up, the dollar moves up, that is a it's going to be the only game in town, like I've mentioned for the last 2 weeks in these videos. And as that moves up, and it looks like it's starting to, then that will mean that the stock market is moving down. So we have to pay very, very close attention to all that. So if you're playing this on as a day trading vehicle for the E-mini futures, you're basically looking at the right here, the T1, and which is, let me see how far back this goes here. You're looking at T1 for an entrance to the downside. I mean T4, and also here for the upside. So you're capturing this. Let me here. Capturing this area in here, this area in here for the bounce, and when it goes down, you're capturing this little area, and when it goes back up, you're capturing this right here. And right now, it remains on the upside, and it actually looks pretty good to the upside. Now, I don't know whether gold moving up or down is going to change that, but I do know that the dollar moving up will change that. So we'll just have to see whether the last couple days in May is going to go out with a bang or a flurry. Hard to tell right now. Okay, if we take a look at Apple, my favorite stock, we see that Apple has been above on T1 ever since the middle of March, and moved up at the beginning of May, and it's just moving up now this past week on T3, and T4 is just well, actually I think T4 is actually buried more in there. It doesn't show up. T4 is actually way below zero, and T5 is below zero. So this is what I'm looking for in Apple. If Apple on the 21 this is already heading down in a trend, even though this is going sideways to up. On Friday there was a move in the last half hour to pin this at 445 against all the puts and calls that everybody was holding in the thousands of contracts. So that was almost to be expected. But if we look at the 21, basically because T4 and T5 on the daily is below zero, and T3 is still 2/3 below zero. What I'm looking for is if the 21 minute chart starts moving below zero, then because of this descending move here, this will also start moving down, and eventually, as soon as this crosses zero, like it crossed zero here, it actually went up a little bit, but it wasn't representative of what a chart really looks. That's why I like looking at the 21, because even though this stayed above zero, the price on Apple since this has gone up is, let me see, this went up at 441 on March 11th, and it's 445. So this whole time above zero in this area, right in here, you would expect the stock to move up in that direction, but it did not. It's a telltale sign that Apple is probably done, and I'm looking for I am actually looking for lower prices on Apple. Alright, so let's take a look at the 21 to see how that's developing. Alright, well that's a 21, let's look at the daily chart of 29. I mean a cash price of 21. Okay, so we see some nice moves here actually. can actually go back if you just use the trading one, the 21 as a trading thing. If you look at T5 back here, okay, T5 goes above goes above below zero. Sorry, January, February, the end of March, and right about in here about 450, which is 445, 450, which is actually where it is today. And it stays below zero all the way through to the end of April, right in this area. So this is a very, very nice trade if you're having options or if you're just shorting the stock. It goes above zero here and below zero here, which is like right in here, and that's a very nice trade. Okay, so far, if you got in here on the downside on this move down in about May 13th, 14th, then you're absolutely flat. So nothing has happened since then. It went down 20 points, up 20 points, and basically flat ever since. So you really can't tell what's going on there. So let's move down to a 987 chart and see what's happening. Nothing. All right. So this is an example of when everything starts going sideways like that. It's like in between a high and a low tide. These guys just flatten out completely. And that's flat, that's flat, that's flat, and this is flat right here. You really can't tell what's going on right here. So the only way you can get a bigger picture of what's going on is maybe going into a 144 cash price, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens there. Let's populate that screen. And let me do a little bit more. Okay, so on a 144 minute cash price, we're watching nice moves. So these are basically, you know, like there's only, let me see, 3 or 4 hash marks a day. Let me see how many there are. Hang on 1 second. So on the 100, I just figured it out. On 144 minute chart, there are only three of these hash marks a day. So each three of these represent a day. So when you're getting a move in the wave on these, on the 144, it's a big time move. It's almost like a daily. It's almost like a daily chart, but it's better because it's 3 more than a daily is. So it gives you more information. So you can see that Apple, and it's actually a little more conservative. Instead of playing like the very short term ones, you can actually buy this long and leave it in there. And sometimes they catch the dead lows. Like this one captured this at about, I think that's about 420, took it up to 450 into the, this is the 1597 exponential moving average, and then it moved down again here, and it got you about 20 points, moved up here, and it got you about another 20 points, and then it just went below zero this past week, and it's still out to lunch about where this is going. It's down, and it looks like it should go down, and that's what I'm taking my cues from, because the long wave since October on the 144 cash has never moved above zero. The dark blue wave down here. And that's the telltale sign of the direction of the stock, and that matches what's going on in the daily. All right, let's look at another stock here. Let's look at Goldman Sachs. Let's look at a daily Goldman Sachs. That doesn't look bad. That looks okay. That went down. That started going back up again. So let's get a an arrow in here. Okay, so the last two wave moves, this is from 120 up to 160. That was a very, very nice move. The wave down brought you into 140, and the wave up is the short wave is up, but the longer wave on T1 hasn't quite moved up yet. So this like shot up really quickly. This I'm noticing that this price up here is obviously a higher high than the last one, but this wave right here is a lot lower, and the wave has been descending also on T4 and T5. So it's a little iffy on Goldman Sachs. It took out its recent high, and it's nearing its January 2011 high of 175. I don't know if it's going to get there, but it might take a shot at it if the market keeps going up. And we're still up 625 in the S&Ps. If we look at the 21-minute chart on Goldman Sachs, I like this area down here. The T5 is about to move below zero, and basically on the strength of this moving down, this coming up to about a 30% retracement, and if we can get T5 below zero, then that is a sell down to one. Probably it might be a really nice sell-off, like down to from this was from 150 down to 135, so that was a 15-point sell-off. So that would put it down to about this mark here, which is a 1597 exponential moving average. We're going to take a look at Google on the 21-minute chart, and this will be the last chart I look at. Let's expand this a little bit. So Google, let's see, this is a little bit choppy to the upside, so it's when it's choppy like this, like when it starts peaking up above and below zero, you don't want to look at those. You want to find ones that are consistent over a long period. So here, all the way back to on the left-hand side, left-hand part of the chart, in beginning of April, we have excuse me. We have Google at about 1780, and it just kept on going all the way up until right here, when it was completely below zero on T4. If we look straight up, that was the peak at about 910. It's been going down the last 5 days. Okay, so as it's going down, this gets deeper below zero, and this is 130. If you can see the dark blue line at 133 right here, that's all that's above zero on the dark blue line, which is the largest wave that I use for any of the time frames. If this goes below zero right here, then you can expect Google to keep on coming down in this area. Okay, because that's the first time it's been above zero on the left-hand part of this chart since the middle of April. So we'll just have to wait and see which direction this goes. If you're looking at the daily chart on Google, it probably doesn't look that bad. Let me see. Okay, so on the daily chart, it's come down and it's hit the 21 period moving average. In the meantime, this is getting a little soft. The waves are getting a little bit soft. They're starting to roll over a little bit on all the time frames, including on all the wavelengths, including T5. So keep an eye on the 21 minute, because that would be That would be the trading vehicle for this, whether you're buying puts or if you look at that, it's been, so this was all day long yesterday. It came down, what was it down here? It was down 947. So it came down and went sideways. There was no kind of retracement into the close. So you might look for this to continue to the downside. All right, that's all I have. Have a great weekend, the rest of your weekend, and it should be a fun trading week. We got the end of May coming up. End of the month for fund managers placing money for the summer. The old sell in May and go away. It doesn't look like anybody's selling here, so selling may be a very big surprise to everyone when it comes. Again, I am the Triton Wave guy at Triton Wave Consulting, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. If you want to get in touch with me at tritonwaveguy@gmail.com. I trade gold for my clients, and I tell them, I give them targets, and about 2-3 times a week, and so far since the end of January we have accumulated about 340 points on gold. Okay, enjoy the rest of your evening and good luck trading.